Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the Boat Hairspring, Ivan here. In today's video, we are having a look at what in my opinion is the absolute killer of most Valjoux based automatic chronograph watches. And I'll tell you why I feel this way in just a moment. So this is the Tissot PRX Chronograph. I instantly liked it when it was announced a couple of months ago, but after spending some time with it, it's moved straight to the top of my wish list. A shout out to my local Tissot AD, carloschicharro.es, who I borrowed this watch from. They're a small family-run business in Castellón, Spain, and they've been in the game for over 50 years. If you're interested in this or any watch they've got in their website, send them a message, tell them you've seen this video, and they'll give you their best price. For more details, check the info in the description below. This is the box the watch comes in. It's quite small and made of paper, but it's kind of cool as I believe what you see on the left is the Tissot headquarters in Switzerland. I guess Tissot could have done a bit better here, but once you have a closer look at the watch, you'll see that it makes up for the simple packaging big time. Just like in pretty much every single video of mine, I'm going to proceed with the dimensions. The case diameter of this beautiful Tissot is 42mm, the lug-to-lug is 46, but that's very unrealistic since the end lengths are fixed. If we take them into account, and we should, the effective lug-to-lug is 53mm. Then we've got the thickness, which is 14.5. And guys, for a Valjoux 7750 based movement, 14.5mm is actually pretty slim. For instance, the Christopher Ward C60 chronograph that I reviewed a while back was 17mm thick. Wonderful watch, by the way. I strongly recommend you check it out if you haven't already. I happen to have the PRX quartz here, and you can see that the chronograph is clearly bigger, but in reality the difference is just 2mm. I mean, it's 2mm wider and the lug-to-lug is 2mm longer. Now the thickness is a different story, as the chrono is 4mm thicker. On the wrist, however, this new PRX wears beautifully. If your wrist is 16cm or bigger, you won't have any wearability problems. It has a ton of wrist presence and you can expect it to be very comfortable since the bracelet is fantastic. Compared to the regular PRX, this chronograph version is quite a bit heavier. Unsized, it weighs 184 grams, but to me it's a plus because this is exactly how I like my watches, thick and heavy. Since I've just mentioned the bracelet, let's have a word about it. As I said, it's very comfortable, it's fully brushed and it looks great. The comfort comes from the fact that the articulation of the links is excellent and it also tapers down from 24mm to 18mm. Then the individual links are fairly short and you even get half links on each side, all joined by split pins. You know guys, butterfly clasps aren't my favorite because of how difficult it is to get a perfect fit, but with this one I believe that won't be the case because of once again the length of the links and the addition of the half links. On a final note, the bracelet has a quick release system, meaning that you can easily swap it. Tissot hasn't released any other strap options yet, but I'm sure they will very soon. And you can also expect a bunch of aftermarket straps to be released as well as strap adapters. When it comes to the overall design guys, this watch follows the design language of the Tissot C-Star quartz from the 70s, so it's not an homage of anything. However, when looking at it, thinking about AP is kind of inevitable, but that happens mostly due to the integrated bracelet and dial color. Personally speaking, I love the design, it's vintage inspired, but it also looks modern and sporty at the same time. Next, let me mention the build quality and the finishing. Long story short, it's excellent. The watch feels super solid. It features an air-coated sapphire crystal on top and a mineral one on the case back. The crown and the pushers aren't screwed down, but the water resistance is still very respectable, 100 meters. Theoretically, it should handle swimming just fine, but personally for a peace of mind, I wouldn't do it. I mean, for that purpose I've got other watches that can serve me better. Anyway, the finishing is also quite impressive. The surfaces are mostly vertically brushed with the exception of the fixed bezel, the case back and the bevels on the flanks, which are high polished. Then if you have a closer look at the dial guys, you'll see that it's also beautifully executed. It's vertically brushed while the handset and the applied markers are high polished. You get a printed Tissot 1853 branding at 12 o'clock, which also looks incredibly sharp, and so do the markings on the 3 sub-dials. Finally, there is a date window between 4 and 5 o'clock, and surprisingly, it doesn't bother me at all. I mean, when I first saw the press release photos, I was complaining about it, but in person, it's actually well integrated and the beveled edges definitely help in that regard. Altogether, it's a very clean, good-looking dial, and last but not least, it's very legible. Now let me tell you about the movement, guys. Tissot calls it the A05H31. It's basically an ETA Valjoux 7753, so it's a cam-operated movement with 27 joules. It beats at 28,800 vibrations per hour, it hacks, it hand winds, and it's been modified to have 60 hours of power reserve instead of 48. To be honest, I have very little experience with chronograph movements, but if you do a bit of research, you'll find that it's very reliable and typically very accurate. It's also not a bad movement to look at. As you can see, it has a little bit of decoration. There is some perlage work on the bridges, and Tissot has paired it with a skeletonized custom rotor painted in grey. The only inconvenience of this movement is that it requires you to use a pusher for changing the date, which I repeat is a little bit inconvenient, but not a deal breaker at all. So guys, I don't know if I'm transmitting the message effectively, but this Tissot PRX Chronograph is amazing, and it's hard to believe that it retails for €1,795. Most Valjoux 7753 chrono watches cost quite a bit more than that, and most don't feature any decoration on the movement. There are some interesting alternatives from Mido and Hamilton, but they are more expensive or simply not as good looking and unique. Not to mention that with a small discount you'll be easily able to get the Tissot for about €1,600, and with such price it's very hard to beat. You know, up to this moment I've never really paid attention to Tissot watches, but this one really got me curious. So I checked their website and all their models seem to be great value for money. The Quartz PRX is a very nice little watch which goes for less than €400 retail. The automatic version of it is like $695 and it comes with the Powermatic movement. And then there is the Gentleman series, which is also quite impressive. This green dial model I have here looks gorgeous, although it's a bit more expensive, €895. So yeah, if you're looking to buy yourself a nice Swiss-made watch from a reputable brand, definitely give Tissot a go. In my case, I would definitely love to own the PRX Chronograph. It will fit in my collection very well, but I said the same for the watches I reviewed in my last 2 videos. So I'm not sure what I will do, but I've got quite a few watches for sale, and if I find myself financially in a position to get one of these, I definitely will. Alright guys, that's the end of today's video. As always, let me know what you think about this piece in the comments below, and make sure you are subscribed to the channel so that you don't miss any of my future uploads. Thank you very much for watching everyone, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.